Whoa! It looks like good old Billy Boy is in some major severe trouble now.
With those children on that island. Would it even count, though? It wasn't in the United States. Also, if you add up their ages, I'm sure it was above 18. Jeff told me since it was outside of the jurisdiction.
That man's gonna be 86. As of course, now we have some very interesting comments about the current president of the United States, which some people love, some people hate, some people want more of, some people can't get enough of, as clearly there is something happening when it comes to this man and the mental health of a lot of individuals out there that clearly aren't doing their best in response to him, as a lot of the criticisms against Donald Trump have been absolutely ridiculous, stupid, far-fetched, idiotic, and in many instances insane. But does that mean we give Donald Trump a clean slate away from any type of constructive criticisms? Nope. That's not what we're going to be doing here, as of course Tim Dillon just had some very interesting comments to say about Donald Trump, talking about some of the things that he is personally disappointed in, as I wanted to play this, oddly, CNN clip and then do a little bit of a deep dive into an honest, forefront kind of discussion about Donald Trump, the impact he's making, and I want to give him a letter grade that I would assign to him for how I think he is personally doing. Now, this video will, of course, focus on some of the more kind of negative, more nuanced perspectives, but still understand here, we're not the deranged left like these people, or this person here who also, isn't the smartest people out there.
I ain't got a good brain.
A lot of those people's brains have been rotted away with Trump derangement syndrome. And of course, the criticisms will be staying away from that and getting into some legitimate issues, some of which that I think Tim Dillon addressed in this video. So if this is your type of video that, of course, has a more nuanced, honest perspective, subscribe, click the notification button. We always appreciate when you guys do this. As of course, Tim Dillon a few weeks ago did a sit-down interview with CNN, and then he went on the Joe Rogan podcast being like, why don't you guys just release the full video? They actually did. And here's a portion that Mike Cernovich found interesting, as he says, 2028 is going to be an interesting election cycle because Israel-Gaza is one of those issues that people like Tim Dillon and many others don't see in the conventional Republican way. As there is a tear, there is a rift between Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu. There was a rift, especially after 2020. But now Donald Trump won the election. He implemented policies that were very favorable towards Bibi and Israel, kind of giving them everything that they wanted on the silver platter and more, to the detriment of free speech in this country, I would argue. And now, though, it looks like they're beefing. It looks like they are at odds with each other, as Donald Trump and his administration are saying, we want peace, we want a ceasefire, we want to make sure that we can make business and do some deals here. And Israel is saying, we're just going to go bomb Iran now by ourselves. And you guys are going to be involved anyway, whether you like it or not. And then we're going to go and launch the biggest operation inside of Gaza. As he made it, one of his main points of criticisms. Now again, when it comes to this particular topic, a lot of people lose their minds. It's very hard and difficult to have an actual kind of even-keeled, rational kind of perspective in all of this, which a lot of people sadly do not have here. But this is predominantly a criticism of the left, but also more and more it's becoming a criticism of the right. Tim Dillon represents someone that, of course, was a big cheerleader for Trump, for this administration, was sort of campaigning for him, just like a lot of us were. Just like a lot of people in entertainment were saying, yeah, the old guys who are canceling us and trying to destroy our careers because we made a joke, I'm not okay with those guys. These guys over here, yeah, they're a lot cooler. And Tim Dillon represented the kind of Joe Rogans, the podcast, the kind of alternative media that was very in support of Donald Trump. That podcast industry, whether it's Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, are becoming a little bit more now outspoken, especially Theo Von, with what Theo Von said a few hours ago, by the way, about Israel too. Also speaks to light about this kind of shifting, this kind of tide that is turning and changing within the Republican Party that is saying, hey, you know what? Maybe America First is a good idea. Maybe we should follow that kind of guiding principle here and do what's best for our country and not just for other countries that we are involved in, regardless if they are in Europe, in the Middle East, or in Asia. We should be doing what's best for us. And I think this is the sentiment that Tim Dillon is trying to represent here in this interview.
So he kind of talked about what he would do in office, or what he and Trump would do in office. This was before the election.
Right.
All right, Trump's been in office for some months now. Do you think about that interview in a different way at all?
I would have asked more about the tech people. I didn't know. I had no idea that Elon was going to have a major role. I don't think anyone did.
Yeah.
I would have asked more questions about that. I would have asked more questions about people being deported because they've criticized Israel on a college campus, which I think is silly. I would have, but I didn't have.
And I think it is silly. As of course he's expressing some buyer's remorse here. We'll get into Elon because I have a more nuanced perspective on Elon, who's, by the way, one of the few people that's actually willing to bring up the Epstein issue to the general public in an honest, clear way, unlike all these other people. As of course, the FBI director actually went up against Elon Musk and Deutsche and his initiative to actually have transparency within the FBI. We'll get into that. Again, very nuanced conversation. Before we get into all that, plus a lot more, and we continue to play the rest of the clip from Tim Dillon, we wanted to talk about wearechange.shop, one of the best shops out there. We make sure to procure and source our supplements from some of the best places in the world. One of the best things that we have here is Common Sense Creatine. We only have a few limited creatines left here. I'm like, why am I even promoting this? I shouldn't be promoting this because I want to make sure I have more of this at my own home. We are refilling. We're getting a new batch. It comes from Germany, 99.99% pure. Lots of other creatines out there filled with fillers and all this other nonsense. That's why they give you these huge jugs. This is a 2-month supply. If you're having poor sleep, it's a month and a half to a 1 month supply, but you have 300 grams here of unflavored creatine, monohydrate, pure creatine, some of the best stuff out there. As of course, you just keep hearing about this stuff, and it's just fascinating. It's not just for your muscles, it's for your brain. I met someone recently that had a traumatic kind of brain injury, and she was telling me, this creatine stuff is helping me more than anything else. And again, this is just a nuanced personal perspective. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I don't like making all these statements. Do your own homework, do your own research. But we have a lot of people saying, researchers are giving people with Alzheimer's creatine. And they're raising the levels of creatine in their brain, and it has shown a positive effect on their memory. As a lot of people are talking about how there's pretty significant cognitive benefits, especially at dosings at 15 grams or more. I do 5 grams. If I have a poor night's sleep, which I rarely do because I take care of myself, I don't drink, I don't party, I don't go insane. But that rare, out of the 6 months, I might have a cigar or a little bit of a little drinky. Okay, once in a blue moon I do. Next day I'm like, all right, get the creatine, get a little bit more, get 3 scoops instead of 1 scoop. As a lot of the studies that are being done, absolutely very promising for traumatic brain injury too. So they gave combat sports athletes 2 different groups. Some of them they gave creatine, some of them they didn't give creatine, and then they leveled their amount of brain trauma. The people with creatine had less brain trauma than the people that, of course, weren't taking creatine. So creatine is something that I use, and I have seen amazing personal benefits. You might see them too. I don't know. You might not. Listen, I don't like all these salesmen and all these people be like, get this and the world's gonna be better and it's gonna be rainbow. No, you got to do the hard work. But supplementation helps you do the hard work. For me personally, check out creatine. We still have a few of them available. They're about to be sold out very soon here. And this has been one of the best products. And again, I have it here on my desk, and I use it every single day. I love it. I think you will too. Common Sense Creatine. Now, let's continue on, because Tim Dillon had some interesting negative things to say about Elon, saying, I didn't expect Elon to be a part of it. I thought the work that Elon did, specifically when it comes to his Doge cuts, have been incredible, have been great, and have been absolutely critically important. Elon Musk bringing to the forefront two of the most important issues of our lifetime, the depopulation agenda that's being carried out and destroying humanity, is, I think, one of the biggest important conversation starters of our time. Second, the Epstein saga, which he has been a vocal, outspoken proponent of, also incredibly important to bring up and talk about, that he still does routinely when we have members of the Trump administration that previously talked about how this was a big conspiracy, saying, no conspiracy here anymore. Nothing to see here, folks. Believe us. Trust us. We're from the government. No document. You want document? You want proof? No. Evidence? Best you got is me standing here awkwardly in this kind of hostage video. That's all you got.
To ask you about U.S. aid and the comments that Bill Gates made the other day, and I know that you called him.
Yeah, he's a huge liar.
I know you've said that already. I wondered.
Also,
and I'm just.
Who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay, well.
Yes. Woo! Hell yeah! Look, the crowd's even responding.
He said he regrets those, and
he regrets those. What, are you a PR spokesperson for Bill Gates now? I'm sorry, but the work that Elon has done with USAID, Bill Gates is pissed because a lot of those contracts, a lot of the money, taxpayer money, went to, of course, his companies, his organizations, and a lot of them were defrauding, lying, and literally trying to propel a woke, liberal, democratic, gay agenda. Let's just be real with ourselves. It's 1% of our budget, and the work that Elon did with dismantling that organization, beautiful work, incredible work, and I was excited about him going to the Pentagon. I was excited about him going to the CIA. I was excited about him going to the FBI. There's a lot of news reports of people saying that he stepped out of the role here of Deutsch here, as clearly he has been stopped by some people from being able to look at the real waste, the real fraud, the real abuse here, which is one of the criticisms that I would levy against Donald Trump here that I think is a fair one, because we were promised huge cuts. And Deutsch was on their pathway of doing that. Elon Musk was on the pathway of doing that. And then midway there, they kind of closed the door on Elon. And they said, yeah, no. CIA, no. FBI, nope. Pentagon budget, nope. You're not going to audit that. You're not going to look at those. Get out of here. And we sadly, we found out just how horrible the waste and abuse was in some small departments, like the Department of Education, that opened up their doors, the USAID, and all these other smaller organizations. But the big organizations are filled with the big waste, the big fraud. And it looks like Elon Musk was pushed away from being able to, of course, do or address and give the American taxpayers any clarity or transparency surrounding those big government institutions. So we're now finally seeing Elon back in the Oval Office after a long kind of departure, or after not being there for a while. But this is probably one reason why Elon Musk said that he will spend a lot less in politics in the upcoming election, because he probably is a little disappointed, saying, you know what, I was really hoping to get to 99% of that budget, but I was stopped. I wasn't allowed to, of course, do that, as individuals like Kash Patel, the FBI director, overruled Elon Musk just even asking his employees to tell them what they did once a week. Elon said, hey, if you're in government, I want you to send an email telling us, just tell me what you did this week. Do you even exist? Are you even a real person? Kash was like, no, we're not going to do that. And I think this is a bad move by Kash, and this is a mistake, in my opinion, and not the right decision to be made here. And now Kash Patel came out and said, no, Epstein absolutely took himself out. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. With Dan Bongino in their weird hostage video, which now makes everyone kind of think that they were compromised, which brings me to the second criticism of Donald Trump, which I think is fair to make. And this whole thing about us being promised the document day one, it's not true. We haven't gotten anything. And there are still powerful predators out there hurting small children, and our government is aiding and abetting it, because there's no other way to excuse them not releasing the Epstein files, not holding these powerful people accountable, coming out and then regurgitating the official story, which is laughable, which is ridiculous. It's nonsense. It's googly gah. It's absolutely crap. And then they give it to us, and they say, you better believe this. We believe this. Okay, why do you believe this? Shut up! Do you have any evidence? Shut up! Can we have a shut up? And I'm like, no, that's not acceptable. Okay, this is the forefront, most important issue of our lifetime, and now we're talking about not even doing anything about it and letting those powerful people that, by the way, are huge anti-Trumpers that are galvanizing and working against Donald Trump's America First agenda, and I would say have been successful in some ways. You're going to allow those people to reign free? You're showing us that these people are more powerful than you. That's essentially what we're seeing. So that's criticism number 2. Criticism number 3, that I would agree with some people, is that the budget is just too big. I mean, Donald Trump promised to cut the budget. First, he promised to cut government. And again, 1% of it, cut. Good, great. We need more cuts. And Musk being stopped from doing that, us not holding the people responsible, and then us spending more money now. Donald Trump is talking about $1 trillion defense budget. Now he's going to Congress and saying, hey, we're going to have a big, beautiful bill, but this big, beautiful bill is going to increase the U.S. national debt that has been going up. Now, sure, it's early, and Donald Trump wants to, of course, address this. He wants to balance the budget. But let's be honest, he's not fiscally conservative, and he's at odds with fiscal hawks inside of the House of Representatives, inside of the government, individuals like Congressman Chip Roy that are saying, yeah, I can't get behind this big, beautiful bill because it means that we are going to be spending a lot of money that we just do not have. I understand the cuts. The cuts are great. Tax cuts are great, and they just passed that. Great, beautiful. I love that. But spending more money that we don't have, that's a little ridiculous, especially with the huge budget, with the huge deficit that we have here. And that's criticism number 3 that I think is very important here. As, of course, the Deutsche cut, again, we need that number needs to be a lot higher. But what did we have? Now, instead of an audit of the secret CIA black budgets and the Pentagon budgets and all the huge wasteful spending, I mean, the Russians have showed us, the Iranians have showed us, we're going to build drones, $40,000. In America, they cost $41 million. Okay, why? Deutsche needs to go in there. Elon Musk needs to go in there and answer that question, since it looks like the American person, the American citizen the American taxpayer is being defrauded severely. What did we get? We get Palantir that's helping upgrade the IRS systems in order to track, trace, database, and of course tax us significantly. That when a Democrat comes in power, they're just going to be like, yeah, right-wing groups. And again, I've been targeted. I just got a cease and desist letter. I just got I just got a freaking letter saying we're confiscating your stuff from the IRS. Literally. Did I tell you about the WeAreChange.shop? Anyway, modernizing and improving the IRS's ability to steal money from us. I didn't vote for that. That's another criticism, as of course there's going to be a huge financial burden and problem that we're not going to be able to pay back. $1 trillion on organizations and businesses and corporations with no bid contracts that have taken advantage of the American people before, with no transparency and oversight, with denying Elon Musk the ability to actually do anything about them. Big red flag here. Not getting the Epstein list. Big red flag here. Spending more money. Big red flag here. Donald Trump telling everyone we need to primary and get rid of Thomas Macy as he's endorsing Lindsey Graham. Big red flag here. And all of those things I would consider very nuanced criticisms of Donald Trump that sadly a lot of these ingrates, a lot of these absolutely low IQ idiots would never fully address, as of course all they kind of mutter is Trump bad.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
You make me happy.
Yeah, that's the liberal argument here. That's the liberal argument here. I don't make that liberal argument. Now, still, listen, say what you may about the man. I give him, and this is my, I wanted to play the whole Tim Dillon clip. I didn't get to play it because there's a lot of nuanced, beautiful conversations in there that I think are important to talk about. I'll do that in a separate video. Subscribe, click the notification button. My ratings, either C+ or a B-. I'll be honest. Donald Trump is in the Oval Office right now, literally playing videos of South African politicians talking about how they want to take out all the white people to the South African president to his face. That's amazing. Donald Trump is doing his best to try to achieve peace in the Middle East and Ukraine. And I really do truly believe he is working in a way to stop these wars. That's amazing. The tax cuts that we got, the spending that we stopped, amazing. Overall, again, B-, I think is fair. I still think one of the most important, if not one of the best presidents of our lifetime ever. Now, again, some people say that's not a good reading. But these conversations, I think, need to be had that I had in this video. I think they need to be shared. If you agree, share this video, because I think they're legitimate criticisms. They're legitimate issues that if we address in a manner that is coherent, that actually makes sense, that actually is logical, I do believe we will be heard, since this administration actually is listening to its constituents, listening to the conversations happening online and responding to them. So with that, share this video, get it out there. Make sure you're not a liberal woke tard. Get yourself some creatine. Make sure your brain works fine. WeAreChanged.shop. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/WeAreChanged. Love you guys.